So, hello and welcome everyone to the podcast. Who do you think you are? It's a new segment on the Milda's Performance Research channel, and I am really proud and happy that today the first person to speak on this podcast is my dear friend, a researcher, pianist, improviser, lecturer, Jakk Sikk. So, hi, Jaak. Thank you for being here.
Hello, thank you for saying these kind words. I didn't know I'm the first of this series, so I'm really honored
Yeah,
to have this possibility. Thank you very
yeah.
much.
Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to be here because it's a new thing for me and it's really relaxing to speak to you as it's always been. Like it's nice. I think we're very used to this format because we used to have these weekly updates. You remember those
Yeah,
times when
very very well. The collaboration, it's sort of a research collaboration. We met basically every week and discussed the new ideas, new materials about research.
Yes, exactly. And we still did this on Skype, which was I think it's non-existent at the moment
Yes,
anymore.
yes.
It's out. That's it. So this period has really been closed, but now we're on YouTube, which is really cool also. And I wanted to start from the very beginning with you. I know a little bit about your life currently. I've known you since 2018 when we met at the Doctors in Performance conference here at Vilnius, Lithuania. I was at the beginning of my doctoral research. You were, I believe, in your third year of doctoral research, and you were really like a peer, but also a peer mentor in a way for me because I really I was glad I had you in my life, and yeah, it was very helpful for me to speak with you and speak truthfully and honestly about my ideas. And I believe you had a great impact on my research, so I'm really grateful for that. And I wanted to ask you now, how did you start with art in general? Because the idea of this podcast is sort of to figure out how artist researchers began on the path, how they could proceeded with it, and how they see their role in it today. So, where was the beginning of your journey into being a pianist first of all? When did you realize that you will be a performer, an artist? What was this moment in life when you decided that this is my thing?
Yeah, this question can go like very far and into the very young age of my life, but I'm thinking that uh, experimenting was something very ingrained
Hmm.
in me. So as a kid, um, I experimented with all kinds of objects to make music, and it doesn't also come uh, from an empty place. Doesn't come appear from nowhere because my mother was a piano teacher and also an accompanist. So she was practicing piano very very often at home. And we also heard this, and then I took some just random objects and used them as drums and stuff. And then I organized also my siblings to perform together. We like filled bottles with water and used some boxes and some, I don't know, some grill from the oven, metal grill, so etc etc. So we were pretty creative about that. So actually, and now I have a daughter who is currently 1 year old,
Hmm.
and I clearly see her as a researcher as well, because she takes an object, touches it, bends it, pulls it, throws it uh, on the ground, looks what has happened. So I think it's pretty much the kind of core nature of us to be
Hmm.
a researcher. So in a way, I started from this ground, and then probably due to this, my mother thought that okay,
Hmm.
probably Jaak has some kind of, I don't know, something musical inside, so I need to take him to the music school. So that's how it went actually.
And was it your mom's decision more, or were you also involved in this, and you wanted to go and learn? Because it's one thing to play around with musical instruments and a different thing to actually attend the musical school and go to all
Definitely,
the balling directors and stuff like that.
definitely. Yeah. So actually, I'm pretty, as much as I remember, it's pretty much my mom's decision. I
Okay.
wasn't ever involved in like
Hmm.
deciding should I go, should I not, would you like to go. I think times were also different. Kids didn't have so much freedom to choose then, and I think they even didn't raise that question.
Mm.
I remember they, now that was before I was taken to music school. My mom just gave me some songs, and just we sang together, and she was probably thinking that, okay, how far could it go, and
Okay.
is he
She was
capable?
testing you.
Yeah, in a way. So probably she never told anything about why she did this, but
Mhm.
now when I recall all those events, I clearly remember this happening. So I think for her, I probably passed the test, so she decided to take me to the music school.
And that was at the age of 4 or something very early, or 5?
Um, I think it was 5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. And when did that decision become yours? Because again, you did not just finish the music school, you went on further into further study. Um,
Yes, at that time, mm, for me, an example how to be and who to become was my sister's husband,
mhm,
who uh, who basically had business background and was on leading positions in a very big company in Estonia. So I had two processes competing with each other. I would say that my heart felt for music, but I also had another kind of idea how to appear to be, and I didn't show my will to continue with music. So I was sort of shielding it with this
mhm.
other idea of becoming a business person or something that. So I kind of faked for a long time that no, I don't want to continue. I'm going to the, I don't know, so-called normal high school and university, etc., etc. But actually, inside, I had already made the decision that I can't deny this vocation to become a musician.
Okay. And so you, in the end, you chose to apply for the entrance exam to the Estonian Academy of Music and Theatre, right? From the bachelor's level, or
Yes, I'm from Tartu.
Mhm.
So when I was 14, I left home and I
Okay.
went to um, Tallinn Music High School,
Mm-mm.
which had of course, it's not so clearly that the school had the highest level of music education, but still, let's say, very top education in Estonia. So I had already acquaintances from Tallinn Music Academy while I was 12, 13, 14. I was working with pianist Lauri Väinmaa at that time and regularly visiting him. So then at 14, I applied to switch schools and become a student of Tallinn Music High School. So this is how it went actually. And then I lived in a dorm and was visiting home every weekend, at least for the first and mostly second year of my studies.
Since the age of 14 already.
Yeah, yes.
Wow, okay, so you became independent pretty early on in life.
Pretty much, yes.
And when did you decide that the musical path is not only for you as a performer, but also as a researcher, because it's a little bit of a different thing to want to become a musician and to actually research your art.
Yeah, I mean, this is where I would say that the path of a musician is very hard.
Hmm.
And actually,
Okay.
when I think back to my class and all my classmates in music high school, there are only out of the 30, maybe there are only two, three, four people who are still involved in making music. So, I mean, the competition is very high. You don't have like uh, places waiting for you to be filled.
Hmm.
So actually, I think, and then it's more and more actually finding your own way. So I had a very naive vision in my mind when I was, I don't know, 14, 15, etc., that
Sure.
I'm gonna tour the world. I will have all those halls, people clapping, money falling to my pocket from those things. So I was actually living in a way in an illusion. But the reality is very different, because even if you look at the very top musicians, they are mostly also still involved in local concerts, local events, and everyone is trying to sort of make their living and be musically active. So it's a place which is very crowded. It's not that there are all empty slots for everyone.
Hmm.
And also my kind of journey as a pianist was very bumpy. It wasn't
Hmm.
that way I was thriving all the time and everything was
Hmm.
going super well. I was having some peak periods, and then for some reason which I didn't understand, suddenly I underperformed, and I there was a dip for a long time. So it was very much fluctuating, and I even didn't understand why. And so you can hear clearly say that the hardest parts uh, of my life, those dips, uh, and also the contrast between the successful periods and those dips became the reason to become a researcher.
Hmm.
Because when I was graduating from high school, I would say that at that time I had a very good shape as a pianist. I won some competitions. I felt I'm very capable of playing, co- performing, playing difficult pieces, etc., etc. But when I went to the academy, it had changed. The teachers changed, everything changed, and then I experienced like a crisis in a way,
Hmm.
and I started asking that is it that I'm just dumb that I can't
Hmm.
play, or is there something else? I have to figure it out, because otherwise it's impossible actually to become a professional. That I'm always dependent on some X factor, which
Yeah.
I don't understand. So I made a very conscious decision that I need to research how to play, how does it work, what do different playing techniques mean, what is the human anatomy like. So I had to figure it all out, and it was about the decision. It's not an overnight change, but it's a change of perspective in your mind, that
Hmm.
it's not worth just intuitively going and working for hours and hours, but first you need to understand what you're doing, and every understanding takes you to new questions which have next answers, etc., etc. So that's the way how it goes. And I would say that that by master's
Mhm.
level, which then I was already officially an improviser. I went from being a classical pianist, doing bachelor as a classical pianist, to masters, and then as an improviser, contemporary improviser. But despite changing this, my main uh, subject, my specialty, from classical pianist to improviser, I would say that in master studies I got to a point where I felt that I can play anything and I know how to play the piano. So there are
Okay.
still recordings from this era in my life which I consider really, really good ones. So this research part helped very much, really, and I still feel like this now. There sometimes I take some classical pieces, and yes, after not practicing deeply, devotedly for a long period, when I come back, I feel, of course, that I'm rusty,
Mhm.
but I know how to shave off the rust and I know how to manage with pieces. So it's still there, but it's all due research actually. So this is what I also try to tell every one of my academy students, and I try to sort of put those seeds there that it's mostly about research and working with a clear goal, uh,
Mhm.
not stopping there, asking more questions, and always striving for more consciously, using your intellect, devotion, understanding your psychology, that it's never as we predict or as we dream, but there is always some truth and you have to accept it. There are messy periods, there are all those things, but it's all part of the natural process, and you just have to accept it and keep going. That's the most important, I would say. Became a
Wow.
long answer to that question.
No, it's a long podcast. Don't worry, we're in no rush. Uh, but yeah, it's very interesting what you are saying that in a way you've gone into research because you felt you are not well good enough in a way to be a pianist, a performer, or you were lacking something and you try to understand what is it and how can I change. And
Definitely.
through doing that research, actually, you did become something that you did gain that quality that you thought you were lacking, right?
Yeah, here I would say that what Schopenhauer is referring to is the cycle of desire,
Mm-hmm.
passion, and frustration.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone goes through this. And if you, even if there are concerts that seem to be fantastic, people are standing up, applauding, wanting these encore PCs, etc., etc. Even in this case, it's not uncommon that the musician is really not satisfied with the result.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone, even the best ones in the world, have better and worse days, and they are still struggling. But I think this is what keeps you alive. If you stop struggling, it also would mean that you have given up about something important. If you have those values, you can never fully fill an idea, a value. You can, if you're striving for some value, it's an endless process. You can always become better. And until this striving for some values is alive, the musician is also alive and is developing, or whoever. I think not just musicians, researchers. Just as well as musicians. So I think keeping this alive is crucial, but it's not easy. It means constant struggle. You can never
Mm-hmm.
just be content and happy and it's okay. I'm enjoying my simple life. If you're striving for those values.
Mm-hmm. So is it what you mean is that your aim is also constantly changing, right? It's not like it's if at some point you wanted to play in the biggest halls, now probably your purpose is a little bit different when you play.
Absolutely. I mean, it's becoming more and more internal.
Hmm.
It's not a comparison to the opinion, I don't know, of some crowd, or opinion about how much I get paid and those things. When it becomes to real values in music, they are internal values, and they are changing as well. Because as if we change as human beings, our core values also sort of form a new combination. And so it's definitely about the situation and the perception of situation, which changes the core values. Let's say that if I find, I don't know, a new technique, how to prepare a piano, then it might become my new value, that some specific sound or some timbre which I'd like to find, and I'm fine tuning this. It can change the main value which matters to me right now, instead of something else, maybe thinking about acoustics or working with finger technique, how to be more capable, whatever. I mean, it's very much situation dependent. And then if you work on it and you achieve something, or you reach a place, it might also change everything. When, let's say that there is this preparing technique, and I find, okay, now I had a great experience, I understand it much more, I'm able to sort of manipulate those sounds and use those objects, then the meaning creation fades at some point, and your something else becomes relevant. So in
Hmm.
this sense, I think it's a constant sort of opening up something, closing something new, coming.
Constant re-evaluation of
Definitely.
what
Yes.
of the values. Okay. And you are also teaching, right? In
Yes.
the when and how did it happen in your life that you decided I need to share my knowledge?
It happened a long time ago. Uh,
Hmm.
I think in bachelor studies, these were times where I was teaching the most. There were years where I had like 18 to 20 private students.
Okay.
And I very much enjoyed it. And I also felt that this is where one learns.
Hmm.
Uh, maybe in very theoretical fields, uh, it could be a little bit different. You can teach, let's say, maths over and over again all the time. But when you're working uh, on playing an instrument, it's a very practical thing. You can't fake if you are not capable to play. It's impossible. If you so-called suck at playing, then they see, oh, how can you teach me if you're not able to actually do it? So you have to keep yourself in shape all the time, and
Hmm.
it's a place where you constantly work on the ABC, on the basics, and that's so important, because I think also often the basics are just considered not so important, that I'm beyond this. I
Hmm.
can't agree with that, because I think the basics is something that you always have to keep strong, regardless of what you're doing on this upper and more complex layers. And this is what the teaching gives, and I like it very much. And in a way, I miss teaching just classical piano as well. That
Hmm.
that returning to those important things and those core values about I don't know, timing, polyphony, pedaling, being very careful about all these dynamics and nuances, and of course technically thinking how does this piano playing mechanism work and all those things. Yeah, so in this sense, I was very lucky actually to teach already quite early and have many students. I think it has taught me so much. Every student is different. Sometimes some students who actually didn't pick up everything so quickly, you had to put in some more effort. In a way, they were even more rewarding because you have to really analyze and go to the particles of playing and also psychological nuances and tension and all those things to understand and to be able to help them. So teaching is in this sense fascinating, that it just uh, broadens your inner world so much.
And how does teaching classical piano compare to lecturing or teaching improvisation?
I think the focus is a little bit different. I would say that they share quite a
Hmm.
bit, but the direction from where you approach is different. Um, in traditional piano teaching, there's a score,
Hmm.
and then there is a cultural understanding of how this piece has always been played. And the score is pretty detailed. There are all those pianos and accent signs and
Yeah.
diminuendos and etc. etc. Different editors have been creating different versions. Some are considered, yeah, this is the good one, this is not so good, pick that one. So there is a very kind of elaborate culture behind playing classical music. So it's very easy to get into an area which you consider that's the right way of doing this, and this is what is very often sort of expected from both music teachers who are
Hmm.
teaching classical music and also students. In improv, uh, you approach directly, or I approach. I can talk about my own
Hmm.
way of seeing this.
Hmm.
I approach through trying to help every person improvising sort of find their own language, their own way, trust themselves, and sort of take a decision that my thoughts, my reactions are always my mental truth in this moment. This is who I am. And so in improv, no one can tell you that your improv was bad or that's wrong
Hmm.
what you did. It's impossible because this is who you are. Doesn't matter what you do. It's your improv. It's okay. So you don't have this strict assessment criteria in a way when you're on the journey. Assessing this artistically on a very high level is different. There, I understand. Yes, everyone has an understanding of which musical expression is artistically more rich. Let's say in expressive capabilities, more accurate, technically stronger, etc., etc. I understand this. You don't, you wouldn't go to a concert where you feel that it's sort of boring. Uh,
Hmm.
the energy feels very low. It is scattered into pieces. It doesn't form an integrated event, so to say. And I get it. But when you're a teacher, the way doesn't definitely go through starting with all those expectations. The way goes and starts with self trust. That
Mhm.
and I usually do it that way. That I tell people that I'm going to play something,
Uh-huh.
just something very little, and you'd listen what you imagine. What would you play along with me? You don't need to play anything, just listen. So when I play something simpler, use some objects or play on the piano, usually everyone has an idea. Everyone tells that, yeah, I got something.
Mhm.
I got the melody or I got the rhythm. And then that's your way. This is true. I mean, that's your real mental process. You don't have to fake being better, doing
Mhm.
something else. You don't have to be nervous about any expectation that did I respond properly, etc., etc. That's irrelevant in this context. So then the next step would be, okay, if you found your own mental expression, your idea, your response to the environment, the next step is to try to express it. So usually I play something similar, and you listen just to your mental processes, what's happening there, and if there is an idea, go with it. So then they do something. They'll say that if there is nothing happening, that's okay. You don't
Mhm.
necessarily need to do anything. Being here in with yourself in a sort of state of waiting and openness, that's also very much okay. But usually people have something. It's more an exception that somebody's not playing. And if it's a psychological problem that they say, I'm not sure whether that's good enough, or yeah, I had
Mhm.
something, but I was hesitating, or I was always told that what I do is not enough, something like this. Then it's a different question. Then there are other methods which I'm usually using. One is that this hesitation, your fear, it's a very how to say, rich source for artistic expression. Putting your fear into action, putting your anxiety into action, instead of sort of confronting it and freezing. That's definitely a way. And usually when people do it, it's very liberating. Like accepting the fear um, releases the fear, and if you release it, you find lots of power, lots of energy, which you can direct somewhere and do something with it. There are those some cases. I think during my teaching career, I have probably have had like two students who, in the end, weren't able actually to perform in front of other people. They are like, no, 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 I can't. I'm just freezing so much. I'm shutting down. And they had to do the past fail test in the academy. And then there are just, I think, two cases from out of all those 100 or more. They said, That's okay. We don't need to do the test. You were present in the lessons. You actually achieved quite a bit. There are moments where you felt free, expressive. It was flowing. So that's okay. It's fine. So you cannot traumatize really people so that they go and they start crying and block. But I mean, that's a very rare exception. Most of the people I've been working with who have sort of um, kind of found the inner response and the mental process which is happening, and they have made a step to express it. Already in the first lesson, they become quite free, quite flowing, and usually they are surprised how enjoyable and how liberating and how powerful is the expression experience of uh, of doing this. It's like through full acceptance, you can just be yourself, and if you're not, then it's the question that only you can answer, because then it becomes a question of mental processes and internal decisions, and that it has nothing to do with the external kind of regulations. There are no external regulations by the core idea of improvising. So when you ask that, what is the difference between
Mm.
classical piano teaching and improv, that I would say that one is building sort of block by block uh, some kind of structure which has which is culturally very loaded and quite clearly envisioned how it should be, how it could be, etc., etc. And then you're just working on it, and the so-called freedom that you're hoping for comes much later, when you're technically very capable, when you are able to play most pieces as it's expected from you. Then you are given some freedom. Okay, you are now becoming a mature musician. Now you have the right to your own opinion. You can sort of make your own interpretation of that piece. Of course, we cannot put it into very strict stereotypes. I'm sure there are other methodologies. There are some schools which consciously don't follow that way. Um, but it seems to me, at least, that the overall mentality about classical music is something like that. Whereas in improv, it's something uh, like I described, that you come from full acceptance, and then you start moving into a direction. You discover more and more. You will have your own preferences. You will find more and more about your own style, what you like, what you don't like. Listen to different styles of music, different improvisers, etc., etc., and it triggers something in you. You learn something, and so you sort of build your own uh, individuality over time.
Hmm. And in your view, do you need to have like strong foundation in order to do improvisation? Because from what you just explained, it seems like you need to have the skill first and improvisation comes next, or is that not necessarily the case?
Mm, I would say it's not necessarily the
Mm.
case, and here is also space for something new, because I think uh, learning through improvisation, learning an instrument through improvisation, uh, it's still quite uh, unknown area. There is much space for it. There are very, very strong traditional methods, but at the same time, there are also examples from real life where somebody has started approaching all this from improvisation side, and
Hmm.
is now a world touring musician, composer. There is a saxophonist called Dror Feiler,
Hmm.
and he started so that he was living in Sweden in an attic of an old house. He just bought an old saxophone and started doing whatever he felt he wants to do. Made all kind of noises and squeaks and whatever. So he kept doing this and was researching the instrument more and more, and then slowly became also acquainted with more traditional ways of playing through that. And now He's a improvising saxophonist and a composer. Writes for orchestras and tours, basically tours the world. So there are also that kind of examples from life. And so improv as a methodology for learning instruments, this is something where I think we can discover much, and also make the teaching process even healthier compared to what it's now.
Hmm. Yes, I think I really agree with you because I have experience also of working with you and your like witnessing your methods in action and also trying things out. I feel there is really value in applying the, as you said, improvisation methodology to teaching, even in my field, also outside of music. And I was really curious about your research also. Maybe you could talk a little bit more about what did you investigate during your doctoral research time?
Yeah. So this also goes to, or it's actually deriving from deep problems which I had. And I remember having these blackouts as well while performing in bachelor studies. Uh, so that's the most terrible thing you can have.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on stage, people are listening to, and you suddenly just forget what you had to play. A terrible thing. So I started researching like techniques, how to properly overcome that problem, and I stumbled upon techniques related to imagery,
Mm-hmm.
using different memory types at once. So that was extremely helpful. And then I learned also how imagery can help about sports, about planning, about many things, visualizing, I don't know, project, an idea, etc., etc. So as it was so helpful, and it sort of really dragged me out of that pit where I was. I just was fascinating so much with it, and there were ideas from uh, brain researchers that imagery is the kind of strongest, sort of like a language between us and our brain. It's a way to speak to our brain, change and alter the processes, etc., etc. And in a way, that's true. That if we are conscious about something, it also means that we have an imagery about what's happening. So it means that we get contact with certain brain processes which are happening inside of us. And if you're able to create imagery, change it, direct it, you also become capable of directing your brain processes. And I think it gives you so much possibilities, and actually unlocks so many powers that we have. So after I decided that before I perform a classical piece, I need to be able to perform it in my mind, just the way as I like to hear it, and I need to know everything. Not even so much theoretically, but in my imagery, it has to be fully clear, and theoretically as well. So there was combined like vision, the sense of physical movement, how it sounds, theoretical knowledge, the emotions, many things. So if I could sit down and start playing, and I could play it all through without any collapses, I was okay with that, and so it never struck me anymore that I had a blackout, even if I had not so much time to prepare for a performance. I managed. So that was a major a game changer for me. So and I discovered other positive features about this as well, like technique, technical abilities get better if you are clear on what to do. If you're able to see all the fingers and even do this, let's say, liberating some fingers from tension, freeing them up. And if you're able to do it in your mind, why can't you do it in the physical realm? Or I would ask the other way around, that how could I expect to play something well if I'm not even able to do it well in my mind? So
Mm.
it's always that the first step is the internal mental, that's the primary, and the secondary step is it into action in the external world. So it directly targeted the self organization in my mind, that I was able to organize myself very clearly. Yeah, so my doctoral work actually originates from this experience, and as I was already in the field of improvisation, I wanted to explore how conscious imagery can be put into action in improvisation. Uh, yes, so and that was also very rewarding. And then there was the question, like, how to do this, or imagery is always triggered by something, and what are those triggers? Which are these stimuli I want to use to create some imagery and then do something with it? So these are the roots of my doctoral studies.
And did you reflect on your personal journey also in your doctoral research, or was it more an objective experiment being carried out and assessed?
Both. I uh, I decided that it has to be artistic. There has to be a strong subjective artistic base or part. But I thought that I'm also somebody who wants to conduct a proper research as well. So I also did a research, like a study in Italy, in South Italy, where you also visited
Yeah, yeah.
at that time. So I was there almost for 2 months, and I had piano students who used imagery and improvised based on that, and also another group who didn't use imagery and just improvise. So I could compare what's
Mm.
happening if people use imagery while improvising and if they don't. And so the so-called solid research is based on those two groups and comparing them also statistically, etc. And then the artistic part is about the impact of some composers that I I listened, for example, I took the music of Boulez, Pierre Boulez. I listened to most of his music that he has written, and let it impact me. So it was for me like a stimulus. And then I didn't touch the physical piano for 2 months, and I was just practicing mentally for 2 months every day, and
Mhm.
being inspired and impacted by this composer and his music. And then after these 2 months, I straight went on stage and performed my doctoral performance. which was also assessed by a jury and all those things.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I got this experience how it is to just be in the mental realm, practice there, be strongly impacted by some stimuli, and what's happening. So I had a daily routine that every day I went to bed, and before sleep I took an hour or so, and I imagined myself playing the piano.
Hmm.
So the other part of the doctoral study beside the research I conducted.
And what, briefly, were the findings? What you would say were the most important points from your research?
Um, Definitely, what matters is the actual impact on the people who were improvising and who were using those stimuli. And it wasn't easy for them. Uh, they were it sort of broke something,
Hmm.
some some kind of shell or something where they were hiding. I remember some of them even weeping when opening up, doing those things. I mean, in Italy also, I would say that the hierarchy between students and professors, it's very sharp.
Hmm.
For me, it was also sort of weird and a little bit uncomfortable that they came to me always so politely and told me, "Yes, professor, yes, sure." They were like having this posture, like being very humiliating themselves, all this. So probably while they were improvising, and they got this impulse to just listen, touch, accept, do this, that also cracked something open. So that was definitely a very important and interesting finding. But overall, this study uh, clearly stated that those who used imagery
Hmm.
for organizing themselves, they did better based on the assessment of a group of expert improvisers. So the the pianists who used stimuli and imagery, they recorded several pieces. It was the same with those who didn't use stimuli and were not directed to use imagery. They also recorded several pieces, and those pieces were just mixed up and were just encrypted. So nobody knew who played, what was that. It was a random order, etc., etc. And the group of experts assessed the pieces. So the overall outcome clearly showed that the ones who used imagery, they got better grades, so to say.
Right. So pretty straightforward, the result.
In this case, yes. Later, I've done some research which is not so straightforward, and where we didn't get the results that we expected to get. So
Okay.
there's also some space, actually, definitely,
Hmm.
where kind of unexpected things appear, which is very interesting because I think part of the research is the negative result, or that your hypothesis was falsified. I think it's super important because it means that now we have gotten to something which was outside of my own previous mindset, and there is something we have to figure out. And I think that's really fascinating.
Hmm. What was the experiment, the continuation of the doctoral research? What do you have in mind? The one that you failed, or
Yeah,
the hypothesis failed?
um, it was that it was a continuance of
Hmm.
the same research which I described. in the frames of my doctoral research. It was about duo playing,
Okay.
and first I'll explain or describe just a little bit the main idea, which is very simple if to put it into real context, real life context. That when we are having a discussion, now I'm talking much more. You're asking
Mm,
question, but let's say that we have a normal discussion, and you're telling something to me, you're explaining something, and it means that I'm listening to you and I'm being creative based on what you tell me. I'm thinking of scenarios about similar things. I'm visualizing it. Maybe I'm not agreeing with everything. Then I'm adding something. So I'm being creative about what you say, and it also means that we are in a strong connection. We are open to the streams of information of each other, or expression if information is maybe too limited. And then we are using imagery constantly. And if both parties are doing that, then the communication works well. And I've also seen it very clearly while improvising with our other musicians,
mm,
that if they play something, I'm very closely listening to everything. What is their kind of output? I'm taking this in and I'm reacting to this. My decisions are very strongly influenced and impacted by what's coming in. So we both impact each other at once, listen to each other at once. We're being creative based on each other's kind of expression at once. So it forms this bubble when we feel that, yeah, we really are together. So I was trying to research that phenomenon in a duo setting. So
mm,
I did with two great colleagues, Marju Raju, who is a researcher at our academy, and Professor Allan Vurma, who is also a researcher and professor in our academy. And we designed like a research setting where one duo partner played something, improvised something random first, and the other one listened to it and imagined what would she or he play along with that music. And then the other duo partner improvised something random, and the other partner listened to that and also thought that what could I play along with that music to get the imagery flowing. Uh, and the other group, the test group, they just improvised together. And the results didn't actually show that there was a big difference in
mm,
quality based on the opinions and assessment of the experts. So we went deeper, we delved deeper into why and what was happening, and then we found that there are certain aspects where the group, where they did listening to each other, imagery, and being creative based on each other, where this approach had much stronger results. And it was about mirroring each other,
mhm,
being synchronized, about the style, about the cohesion of form. That was better, clearly, in all of those, where people first listened to each other, imagined, and then performed together. And we also tried to figure out why wasn't the end result and the assessment by the experts different. And now it's quite logical, actually. What
mm,
we found that the reason is that all those players, they were beginners. And if somebody who has been improvising for their life and has just listened to everything listens to a piece where two beginners find cohesion, synchronization, and sort of a decent form, but it's very simple and it's
Uh-huh.
just a beginner level thing. Doesn't sound actually so interesting. Sorry to say, but that's
Hmm.
what came from those grades. But at the same time, if there are beginners and they mess up things and there is this whole contradiction and all this, this might sound even more interesting. And artistically, there is probably more you can notice. So that's the reason. And if top experts are assessing very beginners, you can't expect really high level of anything anywhere. And
Yeah.
that's the reason actually. But what
Hmm.
we find is that that you can use this methods of imagery clearly with working on communication, form, synchronization, listening skills, and those things.
Right. That's a really good lesson from you here, how to really organize an experiment, I think,
Mm.
because clearly you show that a failure of hypothesis is also very good information, and it's just a matter of finding a way of looking at it, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we talk about real research, and if we would be closed in the sense and just expecting something that we consider right, I mean, that's not research. That
Mm,
doesn't work like this. I think this is also something which is often happening, that you are more striving for an expected result,
mm,
not just accepting anything what's coming through the research. So I think the second version, where you're just open to anything, is much more rewarding, and it can be considered like valuable research.
mm. And actually, music is not the only thing you're researching, or at least, I mean, you are interested in researching. I don't know if I can expose this, but you mentioned to me that you are also very interested in the subject of midlife crisis. How did that come about?
Yeah, I've been actually researching this for a few years uh,
Okay.
now, and it's probably I've been also going through something myself, uh,
Mm,
some crisis, and as I'm in this age as well, I think it's good to know what's happening with people at my age and understand this better. So it's also in a way like a personal thing. So yes, I did research on that for almost 3 years, and I went through several good materials. Uh, haven't been really uh, being a coach or psychologist for midlifers. But yeah, it has impacted me pretty much. The question of what's a crisis, why does it happen, what are the value shifts, and what are in general the life cycles and why, and how to deal those questions. So that has been
mm.
very interesting journey.
So this research is more for your personal self-development rather than your intentions of going it with it publicly somehow, publishing a book or whatever.
At the moment, I would say yes. It turned out to be more like a personal thing. I had my ideas to also starting some coaching
Mhm.
service and making a business maybe based on that, etc., etc. But in a way, I would say that I failed Mm,
Mhm.
because uh, there is too much to do. Sounds like a
Okay.
super trivial reason, but I'm very occupied, and
Mhm.
I found out that that is just very hard at the moment to proceed with that. So in a way, I kind of pulled back a little bit, and it's still, yes, personally more for myself, because having a big family, then having a company, working at the academy, writing,
Mhm.
doing research. That sounds crazy already, and it is in a way crazy. So I think to proceed with this kind of direction, you also need a strong foundation, and I think it's in general so that it becomes hard to do something if the context where you're in is is different, is not really supporting this, etc., etc. It just for me it became difficult because I felt that my friends, my
Mhm.
family are used to see me more as a musician, as a researcher in this field. This changed, so I had to sort of be on my own all the time, and that's not easy actually. And if you have so much stuff to do, you
Mhm.
can just break at some point. So I can say that I broke and I couldn't proceed. I just didn't have the resources, and I think the failure part is something that people um, avoid sharing, and I think it shouldn't be like this, because I think behind the facade, everyone has many failures, but
Mm.
usually people show off only the show off only the beautiful things, that I have such a great family, I had such a great trip, I got this job, I was appointed to blah blah, and all those things. But I mean, it's a show. It's
Mhm.
really everyone, even the professors in the academy. They are going through sometimes very difficult projects, rejections, try for
Mm.
years for things, and have to cope with that, etc., etc., and share and have so many responsibilities and stuff. So I think it's a real life, and I would say that it has happened to me many times that I embark on a journey, and I'm very hopeful and maybe idealistic about this, and at some point I just have to tell myself something truthful and sometimes difficult, that actually, yeah, that was great, but and it was rewarding, you got some new knowledge and stuff, but it's not something sustainable, so you have to put it aside.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, actually, you have guided me towards my next question very nicely, because the next question in line was about your lowest point as an artist researcher. When, because as you said, like it seems from the outside always that all these researchers, they go to conferences and then they do experiments and they live the life of the dream, you know. But there is definitely times when it's a struggle. And what was your lowest point? Did you have a point where you maybe did not believe in your own ideas? And how did you cope with it?
Yeah, it's a hard question actually, because lowest lowest point, very difficult to say. I would say that it's a it's a constant feeling
Mhm.
of a dip and drowning, and then suddenly bursting up and having inspiration, new ideas, and this positive burning and joy. but it has nothing to do uh, with the external success or having the, I don't know, the conferences or success. They are actually two separate processes for me at
Mhm.
least. It's not that if I got the project, it means that now I'm super happy. And it might be the opposite actually. That mentally, if you follow your values and if you're being honest with yourself, there is just a process based on your inner rhythm that's happened. And that I haven't done it yet. It would be interesting to research. Maybe I should have a specific journal for doing this, and then if I have enough data, I could start clarifying what is the rhythm exactly about, or how does it how does it work. Yeah, so I would say, and for me, uh, like my trouble has always been that I'm very much interested in many things,
Mm.
and I haven't achieved a place or a point where I'm just dealing with this one field or area that's my, I don't have that kind of thing, and that's difficult as well because I feel that I'm fragmented into competing sections as competing parts of myself. And in a way, it's very interesting and rewarding, and they also support each other. But at the same time, sometimes I feel that I can't continue one line long enough to reach uh,
Mm.
some kind of level or conclusion or something. And here also um, there is this social structure, which in a way also is important, because if you have social structure, obligations, you already got paid, it means that doesn't matter what interests you or what you're doing, what's
Mm.
happening, you're just going to do and work on it. And in a way, this social structure is also really important to maintain one direction or one interest of research, or keeping it on. At least for me, it works like this. So, for example, if I'm in the through the academy, I got a project. It means that I cannot give it up.
Mm.
Doesn't matter what's happening, uh, what's up right now. I'm just doing this, and so it provides a social structure which keeps you on track. Otherwise, for me, it's very easy to just go here, and that's cool, and I want to research this and then that. So it's quite easy for me to do many things at once if I'm just on my own. So in a way, I would say that I also need a social structure to keep me on track. And this is what, for example, about this midlife research, I think what I was missing. Although I constantly researched this for almost 3 years, which is uh, which is quite some amount of time actually. And I just didn't read materials, but I worked through materials. It means that I took the reference material, I made the marks about ideas, I elaborated on different ideas. So that was actually thorough and proper work. But despite of that, when becoming to create a web page, start a blog, start writing articles on it, and appearing at different platforms, let's say like Reddit, something else, and just keep keep doing it for months and months. Uh, I wasn't able.
Mhm. You are also, yeah, as you said, like you have quite a few interests. You are also not new to YouTube channels. where you placed also your ideas about the midlife crisis before, but you have an older channel too, which has like 2,000 subscribers or something like that. So I was wondering what was the story with that project, and how did it stop? Because it's been on like 10 years ago, and then it slowly sort of got quiet, if I'm not mistaken. Could
Yeah.
you tell me more about
Um,
it?
yeah, it was actually the time when I was purely a classical pianist and was teaching and researching playing the piano. So I decided that as I'm anyways teaching, uh, I and I have a methodology which is quite complete, that I can make a piano course online. So this is about the piano course and all kinds of videos about on how to do many things about music theory, and also my own interpretation of different pieces. And yeah, as I went more into improvisation and all this, uh, I sort of distanced more and more from that channel. I have
Mm.
occasionally returned, posted some recordings. By the way, quite recently, I
Mm-hmm.
recorded a few pieces. Yeah, so it still has a meaning for me, but it's not the kind of uh, main goal to create a great classical piano page and teach classical piano.
Mm. Yeah, but what goes on YouTube stays, in the library, so it's really good content, I think. I looked through some of the stuff, and yeah, I think it's great for those who are learning to play the piano. And yeah, I was pretty intimidated because I remember talking to you about YouTube and saying like, there's YouTube, but there is a strategy. We need to learn how to use it. And then I saw your old channel where you had the following 10 years ago. So I thought, okay, I'm an idiot. I'm telling him what he already knows, like, because you have gone through this journey
No,
and
no, I think
seen
it's
this.
also changing, and the algorithm is
Mm,
changing, and YouTube is not the same now as
mm,
it was back years back. Then it's yeah. I mean, I think now are the short videos, and I haven't delved into the algorithm, but I think it has changed pretty much. Um,
mm.
yeah, so I think it's well worth you telling me how things work there if
Things
you
work.
research.
Okay, and I have this very important final question. You need to use your mental imagery here because I will bring you to year 2100, so 75 years on. You're not there anymore, unless the technology is amazing and you've frozen yourself, but I don't think this will be happening. So there is your great grandchild, and he or she picks up a photo album and sees this great grandpa, Jakk Sikk, and they're asking their dad, tell me about him, who he was, what he did in life. What would you like to hear them say in response to this question?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, I've been thinking about this quite a bit. That what will stay here
Mm,
of me when I'm gone, and that's a good question. And usually we don't know because the future generations will give the answer. And I'm actually telling a very different story based on that. I have a friend. She's already a lady in like a senior lady, and she was married to a well-known musicologist. in Estonia, who was really well known at in 70s and 80s, 90s as well. So this musicologist was traveling uh, all around the world despite being part of the Soviet Union. So and this then back then very young student girl, uh, his wife was traveling with him, and sort of he had a very strong impact on the girl and showed him the world and opened the doors, so to say. And then in the middle of 90s, this man passed away, and
Okay.
now nobody really remembers uh, this former professor and important figure. I mean, younger generations know nothing about him, definitely, like senior teachers, etc., know much. But time will pass, and soon he's not remembered almost by anyone. But the same girl who is now also a lady, mm, has written a few books about this this man, this professor, and in a way, she defines who
Mm.
this man is. Actually, we only know what she put into those books. So so it's interesting how you might do many things within the range of your life, etc., etc. But then these are very different matters which decide what others will remember. So I've been thinking about my book that maybe next generations, my kids, will read my book at some point and think who who was this man at some point and what did he do, and probably the same with some research and also the music I play, which can maybe still be heard through some channels. Then I don't know. So it's interesting to think in that way, and I've also become more and more interested in the work my own dad has done, because my
Mm.
dad was also a researcher and mathematician teaching in a university. So I think at some point I'm also delving into his work, and I will find out more about what value did he add. I understand it's a very kind of indirect answer I gave you, but I'm well aware of this question. I've been thinking about this, and I'm well
Mm.
aware of the kind of fact that it's up to others to decide who we become after we pass away. Very much.
Yes, I agree with you. I think what I was driving at was trying to get you to say what is an artist researcher in this life, what is the role of artist researcher in this society? Because if you would perceive yourself from a distance, perhaps you'd be able to answer this question. But I didn't get the answer from you. So,
Yeah, but then that's thank you for this remark you added. Mm, I think it's important to understand ourselves as part of the community. This is
mm,
what I would say here, because let's say 10, 15 years ago, when I started researching imagery, I didn't know anyone talking about that. I was the only person. No pianist, no violinist, no music psychologist. Nobody was talking about this subject. Now, 15 years have passed, and everyone is talking about this.
mm,
It's sort of something that everyone knows. In the big music psychology classes, everyone is repeating, yeah, mental tools, how to practice. Da, 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 da. So, are they mentioning me? I don't think that they are mentioning me so much. I think they know, and my contribution is there. But definitely, I'm not the only one. So there are other people who have written books which have been brought in about this. There are new people who are dealing with these matters. So it's like cloth, like textile, where all those different threads are combined, and it becomes the field of meaning, and I think the field of research. So in this sense, I think acknowledging yourself as a strongly intertwined community and field, and understanding that your role and your impact, your communication with others, it's present, uh, but it's actually a community thing. So when you told this, that artistic research and all this, it's what I'm thinking about, because I think together with other artistic researchers, together we will create this field force of artistic research, which is having an impact on the society, on the people, on the field of research and even science. I think so.
Okay. Yes, it's a very nice note to end our conversation on this idea of community, I think. And I'm really glad that you started this conversation on artist researcher identity and started with the idea that we need to pay attention to the community, because I think we are weaving some things here also, or at least that's the hope. So thank you very much,
Thank
Jaak.
you very much for inviting me and for letting me know of the series. And I'm excited to keep my eye on your work and your podcast.
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot. And have a good day for now. And we will definitely catch up soon.
Yes. Bye bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.